Welcome to the Community Difference Frisco, powered by the Difference Media LLC, and hosted by Brian Poduska with Real Property Management Focus, and also sponsored by Paul Fisher with Certainty Home Lending, Bethany Rowan with the B. Rowan Realty Group, Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Mortgage, Tracy Churchman with Best Buddies, Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers,
Ethan Donovan with the Donovan Creative Agency, and by Meena Singh, college counselor and prep coach.
The Community Difference Frisco was created to serve as a platform for local leaders and business professionals to showcase their expertise, values, and commitment to their community. Overall, the podcast aims to create a stronger sense of community in North Texas by highlighting the often overlooked or unnoticed good work being done by local leaders, businesses, and professionals. So sit back and relax as our host, co-host, and their guests share inspirational stories, experiences, thoughts, and insights about being a professional, along with the opportunities for our businesses to serve our communities in very special ways. Because the Community Difference Frisco starts now.
Well, good afternoon, Frisco. Welcome to the Community Difference Frisco. We are a podcast firmly rooted at the intersection of business development and community involvement. I am your host, Brian Poduska. I am the owner of Real Property Management Focus, located right here in Frisco, Texas. I'm a resident of Frisco, Texas, and super excited to be back in the month of November hosting the Community Difference Frisco. If you haven't seen our show, you are watching episode number 45. And what we are, we're a local podcast that puts a spotlight on people of 5 different foundations, I'll call it, right? So those are community leaders being business owners, entrepreneurs, political leaders, Frisco ISD leadership, nonprofit leadership, and finally sports leadership, since we are Sports City USA right here in Frisco. So also, if you haven't seen the show, we have a rotating business topic of the month, the topic of November. So this is our first week diving into this topic, continuing the stream of branding, but specifically behavioral branding. And that is building brands through actions and culture. So it's a little more personalized. We talked about it last month on a little bit higher level. So this is more of a personalization of that. Hi, Diane. Thank you for tuning in. Good to see you. Diane is a co-host on our our Plano show. Also tying that into what we do here in Frisco and some of the other communities, we have rotating co-hosts every week. We've got a little bit different mix for week 1. Bethany Rowan and Ethan Donovan are our co-hosts this week. So Lennon, why don't you bring in ladies first, bring in Bethany, and let's say hello to Bethany. Hi, Bethany. Good to see you.
Hello, Brian. Good afternoon. Glad to be here. I'm Bethany Rowan. I have been serving the Frisco community in 2 capacities. I really kind of say one because it's both an education standpoint, but I first served the Frisco ISD community for a long time as a principal and administrator there, and then transitioned about 10 years ago into the real estate community. So have really enjoyed what each facet of those jobs have brought, but have still allowed me to serve this community. And I just thank you that I'm here today.
Well, we're glad to see you again. You are our regular week 1 co-host. We had a little swap out with Ethan joining us this week, but great to see you. Excited to jump into this topic this month. I'm going to hand it over to you. I'd like you to introduce your guest, if you don't mind. Love to meet him.
Don't mind at all. My guest this week is a longtime friend, more than 10 years, and a strategic business partner of mine. His name is Shaun Neidigh, and he is currently working with Chicago Title and has a lot to bring on the conversation of behavioral branding. And I'm excited to have him on the show today.
There he is. What's up, Shaun? Good to see you.
Hey guys, how are you?
Yeah, great to see you. Glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, welcome to the show. I want to ask you a question. I know you're a Frisco resident and you work for Chicago Title right here in Frisco. So what excites you the most about the Frisco community?
Honestly, it's incredible sports background, really. I love the idea of us being like a sports-centered city. I love the idea of not having to go all the way into, like, let's say, Dallas for the things that we used to have to go to, them being kind of in our backyard now and having so much to offer. I got 4 kids, so it's like I can do lots of fun things with them in my own backyard versus, having to run all over the place. It's just awesome.
Well, that's a good answer, especially for those of us, Lennon Wilson behind the scenes here, our founder of The Difference and director and producer of this show. We are self-proclaimed sports nerds, so you fit in very well, at least with the two of us. And
I'm right there with you on that.
Oh, yes.
all right, well, we can talk about. At one time, we did have a sports show it was a sports dedicated show that we had about 2 years ago now. So we might have to have you on that one when we relaunch it. But I do like the picture behind you. It's I don't necessarily follow the team. I don't agree on the team per se, but certainly it's an awesome picture. It's of the star there, and one of the newest additions to Frisco over the last few years. So glad to have you on the show, and good answer on that question about Frisco. Lennon, do me a favor. Let's bring in Ethan Donovan and say hello to our other co-host. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing well. Good to see you. Good to see you in week 1 here. We're mixing up the coach deck a little bit, so that's cool.
Yep.
I'd like you to introduce yourself, remind the audience who you are, and then also introduce your guest if you don't mind.
Absolutely. First of all, go Bears. Bear down.
Bear down, baby. Bear down.
Bear down. Second of all, I'm Ethan Donovan with Donovan Creative Agency, where we do social media marketing, graphic design, video editing, and videography. I'm really excited for my guest today. Her name is Delana Hess with Grace Intel Coaching. She is originally from Texas, but has worked and lived in Rhode Island. She is married to her Boaz and has 2 adult children. Driven by a deep love for personal recovery, she has been serving in the DFW community, empowering women and families to lead redeemed lives and discover their true worth as defined by God. A survivor of numerous abusive relationships, physically, emotionally, and mentally, she is passionate about helping others transform their past pain into purpose. Delana, come on, get out here. I am so thankful to have you on today, and I'm looking forward to it.
Hi, Ethan. It's so great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Well, Delana, great to see you. Great to see you in a different venue, right? So I see you on a Tuesday morning networking group. Great to see you here on the podcast. Great to have you on the show. Let me ask you one question.
Yeah.
What are you most excited to get out of the show today?
Well, because I am right in your neighborhood at the 4 corners of Plano, Frisco, Allen, and McKinney, I love networking with people who are really vested in their communities. And because my kids graduated from Frisco, I just love supporting this particular market as well. So I'm really looking forward to just learning more from others about this, how we do this cognitive behavioral marketing. So looking forward to that.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we will be getting to that later in the show. We're going to dive into the business topic of the month, which once again is behavioral branding, building brands through actions and culture. Right now, we're going to take a quick commercial break. On the back end, we're going to talk about what's going on in Frisco. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Community Difference Frisco is made possible by Brian Poduska with Real Property Management Focus, Paul Fisher with Certainty Home Lending, Bethany Rowan with the Rowan Realty Group, Tracy Churchman with Best Buddies, Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Mortgage, Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers, Ethan Donovan with the Donovan Creative Agency, and by Meena Singh, college counselor and prep coach. The Community Difference Frisco. Together, we can make the difference. And now, back to the show.
Are you ready?
Because it's time for
What's Up Frisco?
Welcome back. We are going to talk about exactly that. What's up, Frisco? And what I mean by that is we're going to talk about events, community events that are going on in the area, and that includes fundraisers, networking events, job openings, any sort of community event that may not be total headline, big time headlines, but things that you need to know about here in the community. So what I'm going to do is go around the horn. We'll start again, ladies first. Bethany, I'm going to kick it over to you. Why don't you tell us what's up in Frisco?
Great. Thanks so much. I'm excited about it. Anytime I can share something that's related to Frisco ISD and learning, I think that's really important. And so my great friend, Tracy Blackwood, who is a librarian in the district, shared an event with me called the Treat Festival. And it's put on by the Frisco ISD Library Services Group. And it's going to be next Saturday at Staley Middle School. I don't know if you're not familiar with that school, it's one of the oldest middle schools in Frisco. It is definitely one of the OG middle schools, but it's going to be a really neat event where they're going to be sharing about reading, have food trucks, have all kinds of activities and things out there to do for kids, all related to library services. So I think it's going to be a great event, and I hope we have a great weather turnout for that weekend as well, since it's going to be here in November.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to ad lib it a little bit here. I know I've seen some things going around in the Frisco Residents Who Care Facebook group regarding Staley specifically. As you mentioned, it is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, elementary school in the ISD. And we are, in election week here. So we just got done with election day on Tuesday. The bond resolutions did not pass through the election. So there is an effort going on for Staley Middle School, or is it a middle school or
it's a middle school?
Middle school. Okay, so thank you. There is an effort going on for Staley Middle School for, I believe they're doing some lunches and breakfasts and things like that for the staff there, because there is quite a bit of infrastructure improvement that needs to happen at that school. Mm-hmm. And part of one of the four different parts of the bond funding that did not get approved was infrastructure improvement. So there is an effort going on to help the staff there just, work through some of that. From what I understand, the bonds will be reproposed in the next election period in the spring, in May. So stay tuned for that. We'll give you updates on that as we know them. But check out Frisco Residents Who Care Facebook group if you're a part of it. I'm speaking directly to Frisco residents here. Yeah. And if you're interested and able to help out Staley Middle School, that would be much appreciated. So thank you, Bethany, for bringing that up. Nathan, I'm going to kick it over to you. What's up in Frisco?
So I got two events to share about today. My first event is one of my clients, Low Rush Collectibles, are having their monthly trade night. So Low Rush Collectibles is a Pokemon card company, and it's really great. So a bunch of kids and a bunch of adults, around 200 people, come together once a month, and you can buy, sell, and trade Pokemon cards. And it's funny because it used to be a big thing back in the day. Early 2000s, and then it kind of died off, and it actually picked back up during the COVID time because people would live stream and sell their cards. But it's a really unique and different type of community event, and you just see so many things happen with kids that you don't really see nowadays. Usually we're playing games. I was falling victim to it as well. We play games. There's not a lot of interactions anymore with your neighbors, stuff like that. And this is just another great way to get your kids out and about with other kids and just have a really good time. As you can see above here, I got some Pokemon cards that range, a couple dollars to, $200, $300. I mean, some of these cards go for thousands. It's completely insane, but it's kind of unique and fun to collect. So if you have any kids and want to get them out in the community, I definitely recommend going to trade night, seeing what it's like. The owner's absolutely fantastic, Ryan Rush. It's always a pleasure to work with him, and I'll be there as well doing some film. So that'll be great. And then my second event, and she was on our show as well, Cece Spencer. She's having a Radiant Women's event. So they're doing an unforgettable weekend filled with powerful worship, life-changing messages, and heartfelt connections with like-minded women of faith. Whether you're seeking spiritual renewal, encouragement, or simply a deeper connection with God, this conference is definitely where you need to be. It's a 2-day conference from November 22nd and 23rd at the Tori and Katrina Hunter Event Center. And they also have multiple speakers there as well. So it's going to be an overall great time, like I said again. And I'll put a link to that in the comments as well.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Tell me again where the Pokemon card event is going down.
So they have their own brick and mortar right off Preston and Main Street before you actually really get into downtown.
Okay.
It's a perfect venue as well. Big enough space to hold a couple hundred people. And you don't have to go through the construction of downtown. So it's perfect as long as you're on, the north or east side of Frisco or south even. It's right there on Preston and Main. You really can't miss it.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. I wasn't sure if it was in downtown Frisco or just on the outskirts. So it's just on the outskirts on the east side of downtown Frisco. That is a nice segue to let me mention and remind folks of the receipts race that is going on to support downtown Frisco businesses. As we've talked about on the show every week, basically, as a reminder, please do go downtown to downtown Frisco and support the businesses while the construction is going on. It will be another year and a half or so before that is completed. Currently, through the end of the year, the Frisco Chamber of Commerce is running a receipts race. And what that entails is any business done with downtown businesses, save those receipts and scan that QR code. You can take a picture of your receipt, and we'll get that QR code for you here on the show. We'll get that for you next week. But it's out there on the Frisco Chamber of Commerce website. Scan that QR code, take a picture of the receipt, submit it to your local PTA, or put in your local PTA, and those receipts will go. It is a race between all the different Frisco ISD PTA members of that organization, and the winner, or I think it's the top two, will get a donation to the school. So it's a dual benefiting thing. It benefits the downtown Frisco businesses as well as the Frisco ISD PTA groups. So please do go support those downtown businesses as a reminder. All right, with that being said, I'm going to kick it over to you, Delana. I believe you have something that you want to share, and then I'll wrap it up with the things that I have.
Absolutely. So I have two events that I wanted just to mention. One is more so anyone that's planning a wedding and wants to keep their funds in Frisco. There is a incredible nonprofit that's actually called Elisa's Joy Bridal Boutique, and they sell designer gowns 50 to 75% off, discounted rates, and all the proceeds go to support women's shelters and rescue programs such as Alive at Last, which I'm one of the directors for that, one of the board members. And that's all for across Dallas-Fort Worth. So there truly is a problem with human trafficking in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, if y'all haven't heard. So the beautiful thing is the ministry that even got me into my coaching is the second event. So if you guys want to join us for the November 18th Frisco Business Leadership Networking Group, we'd love to invite you to come out and meet Gwen Miller. She actually is the executive director. She heads up a 2-mission-oriented program to help rescued women from human trafficking or domestic violence. Those two groups that she heads up are completely all volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers. And it's called the Mentorship DFW Services, where they train online all of our Christian mentors to go and to walk with the women who are in shelters, as well as the actual shelter ministry where we go in and, like I have for 7 years, led small group trauma-informed meeting small groups to help women to begin to get new jobs and have a whole new mindset. So I just wanted to let you know about those two really special groups that are really important in my life and many of the clients that I work with.
Awesome. Well, thank you for shedding some light on that, because yes, it's we've talked about it here on the show, and we've had some folks representing organizations that are helping, human trafficking victims. So thank you for bringing light to that cause and those two events as well. So thank you very much. Yeah. All right. With that, Lennon, go ahead and throw up the splash screens, and I'll just talk to them as they come up. All right. So this is the BDA that we have here in Frisco, in the Frisco community. This is on every Tuesday, second Tuesday of every month at 5 p.m. at Blue Mesa. at the intersection of 121 and Dallas North Tollway. We are having a happy hour. No teaching this month. We'll have a different rollout of the education portion of that coming next year. So we're just getting together to celebrate an awesome year. This is the first year of the Frisco Community Difference. As I mentioned, we're on episode 45. So we're going to get together, and anybody is welcome to join us from 5 to 7 p.m. at Blue Mesa. Meet and greet. Let's learn about each other, and let's learn about each other's businesses and do a little meshing, right? As we call it, making exceptional, I call it stuff happen. Here, the difference. Be seen, be heard, be remembered, and come check us out that second Tuesday at Blue Mesa from 5 to 7 p.m. All right, what do we got next? So Tom Cotter is coming to the NAC Theater right here in downtown Frisco. Nice, cozy, snug environment in downtown Frisco. It seats about 250 people. Tom Cotter, I believe, was on America's Got Talent. It's an 18-plus show. So it's a big name coming to a small venue right here in Frisco, which is awesome. You see the dates there, November 16th. He's got 2 shows that date. Next up, we've got the Mix. So we've talked about this. This was recently approved here by City Council. This is the replacement for Wade Park, what was formerly known as Wade Park, formerly known as the Hole by the Toll. Frisco's largest swimming pool, whatever you want to call it, off the cuff, funny, ha. This is an actual, development that is going to happen here over the next, I think it's 5 years off the tollway, taking place of that large hole that's in the ground right now. And I won't get into all the specifics, but there is a unique funding mechanism that is set up for this project, which makes it different from previous generations that have encountered bankruptcy with the developers. This one is incentive-based, but it's incentive-based on performance. So I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing more about that as we get into, as those approval steps happen. Next up, we've got the Frisco ISD Incubator Program. I am super excited about this. This is awesome. Think of this as Shark Tank for high school students, future entrepreneurs. This happens over 5 different high schools within the Frisco ISD. You see Ashley Sign's name up there. Her email address is there. Reach out to her. What they're looking for are volunteers for this program to support this Shark Tank-like program. They need business owners, entrepreneurs, adults who have business experience. They don't necessarily have to be an entrepreneur. You can be corporate America, and if you have the time to dedicate to help this program, it's really awesome. They're looking for in-classroom support. They're looking for coaches. They're looking for mentors, and they're looking for folks that can be on the actual Shark Tank type board who help basically provide feedback and judge the projects that are brought in front of them by these teams of high school students looking to launch an entrepreneurial type project.
It's fun.
And then we have the Fall Festival at the Hills of Kingswood neighborhood. They're hosting a neighborhood market on November 17th from 2 to 4 p.m. What they're looking for are vendors. So that, as it says, it's a market. It's a neighborhood market. So if you're interested in being part of this neighborhood market, any local vendor can come. You just have to fill out a form with the HOA to be approved and have your name be advertised, your company's name be advertised, and spend a couple hours with an awesome neighborhood.
That's it, Brian.
That's all we got? Okay, cool.
Is that it? Man, there's a lot going on in Frisco this month.
No doubt about it. And as I'm looking at my timeline here, that puts us over our timeline. So with that, guys, we're going to jump to commercial on the back end. We are going to dive into the business topic of the month, which, again, we've got a new topic for November. It is behavioral branding, building brands through actions and culture. We're going to dive into that right here after the commercial break. Take us away, Lyndon.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
Total Care Emergency Room now has 9 locations in the DFW Metroplex. With no appointment needed, our incredible staff will get you checked in with no wait times. Our 5-star facility is open and fully staffed 24/7. We offer extensive treatment options for patients of all ages, providing on-site labs and imaging equipment, including CT, X-ray, and ultrasound, allowing us to provide fast, convenient care for our community. Total Care ER is your neighborhood emergency room. TotalCare.us.
Unwanted pests in your home can be stressful. From creepy crawlies to critters under the floorboards, they disrupt your peace of mind. But don't worry. All Pest Solutions is here to help. We offer a comprehensive range of safe and effective pest control solutions. We target all types of pests, big or small, including insects, rodents, and wildlife. All Pest Solutions, your local experts for a pest-free home. Breathe easy and enjoy your life again. Call today for a free quote. 972-442-1169 or email us at customerservice@allpestsolutions.com.
To belong is one of our most basic human needs. Best Buddies International is the world's largest organization dedicated to ending the social isolation of 200 million individuals who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We focus on meaningful one-to-one friendships, integrated employment, leadership development, and inclusive living. You have the power to make an impact, create change, and champion our mission of inclusion today.
We are Cloud Staff, enabling remarkable growth for businesses everywhere with our pioneering enterprise-grade remote work solutions. We are on a mission to help business owners scale while reducing costs by matching you with an amazing staff, mobilizing your team, and helping manage business performance, making us the #1 workplace as remote work gets done. Connect with us to access the world's top talent and discover how we can enable remarkable growth for your business.
And now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back. We are entering our third segment, and we are going to dive into the business topic of the month. You can see it scrolling there at the bottom of the screen. It's behavioral branding, building brands through actions and culture. So with that being said, I love this topic because as we've talked about here in The Difference, you're always branding yourself, whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not, whether it's good or bad. It's rarely indifferent. It's one way or the other. Every meeting you go to, every podcast you're on, right? Every interaction that you have with a potential client, you are branding yourself one way or the other. So we've talked about that in bits and pieces across our branding discussions in previous months. I love that we're going to get into it here deeper here in the month of November. So Bethany, I'm going to kick it over to you. I'd like you to just, let's kick off the discussion, and I'll let you, kind of kick it off for us.
Awesome. Thank you. I am definitely excited to talk about this topic. And I think all of us being here today will be able to take away some little nugget of information that we learn even from one another and talking about how our brand and our actions and how we present ourselves in the community, which is why we're on this show, is to really highlight people in our community that are doing great things. And one of the things that I think is really important in terms of your actions and your culture is how you can add value to not only the customers you serve, because, you have two segments of people that you work with, at least in my business, and that's going to be my customers, my clients, and then my strategic partners. And I think my strategic partner relationship is definitely a give and take relationship where we can learn to trust one another and provide value for each other's businesses. And then that carries over into working with the customers that we both service. And Shaun, I wanted to kick it off with you and talk to you a little bit about how maybe we have worked together in the past and how we've serviced some of our clients with some things.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think to jump out of the gate, what's really important is understanding, and especially in our business, you are my client, but it doesn't stop there. your clients also have become my clients. So the way I serve you has to inherently also serve them as well. And understanding that part of the process is key in a it's not completely B2B sales. It's B2B to consumer, where they are trusting you to make a decision to come to my company to close the transaction, but I have to make them feel at ease, and my team has to make them feel at ease. And so, yeah, that partnership is like way more important than most people actually think.
Right. Exactly. And, you know, in a community where there are tons and tons of realtors and tons of title companies, you do have to have that brand and that commitment to a definite value add proposition. How are you different than your neighbor, for example?
Absolutely.
Do you have any ideas or any examples you could share on how you guys are different?
Well, we have a saying here at this office that I have kind of pushed on everybody, so to speak, and it's, we haven't had our best closing yet. So whenever you walk in the door, understand that there is so much more to what we do. This is a transaction, yes, but this is also one of the largest transactions most people are going to make. And there's so much emotion tied to these transactions that we need to make sure that we are coming here trying to serve them to the best of our ability. And I actually stole that from my wife and I went to Napa last year and visited a winery, and we were taking a wine tour and doing all these things. And the guy said, we were like, oh, this is great. This is such a great experience. He goes, but we haven't made our best bottle of wine yet. And I was like, man, that totally stuck with me. And that you could use that in so many different facets of your life. And so we operate now. There's a sign when you walk in the back part of our office where we all work, and it says, we haven't had our best closing yet, to remind them that they are here to do the job and serve every day better than they did the day before. And that is how we continue to grow and push each other to the best we can do.
Well, I love that. And I would assume that stands for some sense of accountability too, with everybody in the office and holding everyone accountable to that same mission.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like something that we have all made a commitment. We all said that that's our mantra, so to speak, for this year and moving forward. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a definitely level of accountability that we're all looking at each other like, are we doing our best today? I mean, sometimes it's raining inside and outside, and we got to still make it all work. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
I think that's fantastic. Sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry. I just wanted to jump in because we've used Chicago Title in the past as well. And being in the real estate industry, as Bethany mentioned, there's a bunch of different title companies out there. So the key for you guys when it comes to, behavioral branding and actions and culture. So I love how you talked on the culture of what you guys are instilling in your office. That's awesome. The other part about what you guys do specifically in title is that value add that you provide. So I can speak for Bethany in this. When you have a good title partner, you have a good title partner when you can just kind of hand to bring a sports analogy into play, hand the football off, right, and have you guys run with it and know that it's going to go smooth.
Well, and ultimately that makes me look like I have had a touchdown, because the behind the scenes things that they do for me make me look great to my clients.
100%. And that's what it's all about in the title business. It's you add value to us as realtors. So exactly what you said, Bethany, you make us look good.
Yeah.
And you go through all the rain that's going on in your office and outside. You make us look good. And to draw the conclusion, score 6 points and Bethany kicks the extra point and it's a touchdown.
That's right. I'd make it too.
All right. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Ethan. What do you got for us?
No, you're good. I just want to say, I really like that quote and how you can always, do better, be better, and just continue to add value to not only yourself, but your company, your clients, and to kind of piggyback off of that as far as adding consistent value. I was watching Gary Vee this morning, and he was having a bunch of one-on-ones with different entrepreneurs. I try my best to watch Gary Vee. He's one of my favorite entrepreneurs, but he's like, there's no such thing as gatekeeping information. If somebody wants to find it, they'll find it.
Right.
So to add consistent value in, I feel like your job and to your clients, you have to be able to, not give away your secrets, because they're not really secrets anymore. I mean, you can find anything on the web, but you just have to give that value that you do for your clients and show them how you can continue to add value to them. So my question here for you, Delana, obviously being a coach and all, how do you consistently add value, to your clients and to your relationships, and make them feel supported and valued?
Thank you, Ethan. Yes. So for me, with Grace Intel Coaching, I connect with my clients first on a personal one-on-one basis. I offer a free counseling appointment. It's like a discovery call. And after we go through that, we actually work through a kind of an assessment that helps each individual really identify what their top 3 goals are that they want to accomplish through either going through one of the 3 workshops that I offer, or if they want personal individual coaching. So that's the first thing that I do. And then as the small groups start, I actually correspond with them through a private Facebook page that I send neat little videos or snippets and motivational quotes and scripture that really correlates with transformation. That's what we're really targeting in a lot of the relationships. So I would say that's 2 items. Then I also do a text string where everyone is open to just put in what their thoughts and what their struggles are. And then we're all connecting on a second level besides just in person, or not in person, because most of mine are virtual. I do in-person groups too, but most of mine, I work with women across the whole United States. And from every state, almost every state, I actually have a client. So we are online virtual, but we are connecting through the meetings, but then also through the texts and that Facebook private page.
Right. And I think that's great that you're adding content and consistent stuff into those Facebook groups and those Facebook pages or DMs or whatever that might be and look like for your company. I think that just goes to show that you're still consistently adding value to your clients, because although you might not be personally saying those things, they might not have seen those things until you have sent it to them. And that's just another way to brand yourself in a great way, but also add that value to your clients.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think to piggyback off that too, the aspect of learning plays a big role in how people see us in the community, and that commitment that we all have to have in our various positions is important because it builds trust. And Delana, I know when you get online and you speak to other people, or I've listened to you speak about the community that you work with, I can tell that comes from a place of research and understanding what women have experienced that you work with. And it really gives you a sense of, leadership, and really has your clients looking to you for great advice.
Thank you. Thank you, Bethany. I'm always open for other things, which I know I'm learning even from Shaun, from how you work in your industry as well.
Let me ask the question of the group, since I know we all do some form of in-person networking. Obviously, kind of what we're doing right now is a little bit of networking, right? So that's what the difference is about. We get to meet new people every week. We get to shine the spotlight on local community leaders. Let me ask you this from a networking perspective, and we've talked about this before, and the difference in some of the other venues that we're at. But when you go to a networking meeting, when it comes to behavioral branding, what stands out to you guys as some of the most important people that stick out to you that you need to get to know? And then how do you manage that relationship going forward?
I can answer. I can be the first. I actually look for people who are consistently at the meetings. And then if they have a lot of passion about what they are selling and they can really share stories, that brings a lot more trust. It helps me to, and I know, the concept is you've got to know, like, and trust those you work with. So that's kind of one area that I focus on.
I think to piggyback off of that too, it's definitely for me the attitude. Like if you aren't there with a good attitude, I'm not attracted to talk to you. I'm not attracted to network with you. Whatever your business is, even if we probably make the most awkward partnership ever and it doesn't go right, if you don't have a good attitude and good behavioral branding overall, that kind of bothers me and doesn't really attract me as a business owner myself to come and network with you. So to me, it's having a good attitude, portray yourself well, be happy to be there, and just move forward with that. That's probably the number one thing I look for.
And the thing I love about working in the community I work with is it's built on relationships. And so when you go to networking groups, you can tell if people are genuine when they're there, because why do we go to networking groups? To get business? No. We go to networking groups to get to know people, to build relationships, to build lifelong partnerships. And you're going to know when you meet people at those groups whether or not you want to build a relationship with that person, because you see them authentic and genuine, and you could be a good power partner with them.
Yeah, I love that. And those are all great points on the positive, right? So I'm going to flip the script and ask the question, what are some of the things that are kind of dead giveaways, the folks that you don't necessarily want to get to know more or get a little bit deeper as far as the business relationship goes?
I could jump in on that one. I would say people that just the arrogance. I think arrogance is an area where you can walk a really thin line, especially in the world of sales, where you want to portray yourself as strong, but the arrogance can kind of, for me personally, if you are name dropping people constantly or doing something like that to where you are trying to or one up everything that I am saying, I'm done. I'm shut down. There's really nowhere for me to go past that. I think no matter who it is, I can learn something from somebody as much as they can learn from me. And so having a more of a discussion versus a lecture when I'm trying to network or communicate with somebody is it's way more important.
Yeah. And if I can just jump in on that to follow up, Shaun, for me, I love when I belong to a number of event marketing or networking groups that really are building those relationships, but they also have a lot of times like some guidelines, and some of those that I really appreciate about the Tuesday morning Frisco business builders is that they have a limited number, just one person representing each industry. Something that's a real turnoff for me is when I go to do a one-on-one with one of the professionals and they switch the script and they choose to talk about another type of business that they're offering. That totally seems like that's a brand suicide, if you ask me.
Yeah. Something I should probably add is it's kind of on the lines of Shaun, and it has to do with attitude as well. But it's just like the fact of people underestimating certain people. For instance, I'm obviously on the younger age, and I've tried to network with some individuals. I introduce myself, it gets turned away just right away, no hesitation, just like, oh, hey, how's it going? And then back to their conversation or whatever. That is probably the biggest turnoff in networking I've ever had in my life. And it's happened numerous times. I'm just like, I mean, that's your behavioral branding. Like that's how you portray yourself in your brand. And now I know not to associate myself and my brand anywhere near yours. And so I've had that happen to me, and it's just like, come on, like really?
Yeah. Well, and I think, Ethan, that goes back to them automatically judging you before they're getting to know you and understand the value that you can add. Just because you're the baby of our group does not mean that you do not add tons of value. And if people automatically meet you and turn away, then they are not portraying the values of a person that you would want to, associate yourself with anyway.
Well, they're missing out on their self because they didn't even give the opportunity. So it's not more of a me problem than it is a them problem, because if they're not willing to even give it a chance, I'm not at a loss. I'd be just fine. It's probably more likely to be them at a loss. So no
Ethan,
bad feelings.
Ethan, they probably just did you a favor when they did that.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did.
Yep.
They probably
Saved you
saved me a lot of time. Yep.
Damn right, young man.
I was going to say, I think for me, when I'm networking, and I've had to learn to do this because I didn't have to do it in my other career. So I didn't even know what networking was when I came into real estate or why I needed it. So I've learned a lot from that. But I think, really one of the core values that I look for in a person is just how genuine they are.
Yes.
And I don't even mind if they're part of the real estate world, because my opinion is there's enough to go around in this city. And I think as real estate professionals and title professionals and just entrepreneurs in general, we can all provide some sense of learning for one another. And so I really do look for that genuine person who is interested in it for everyone.
Love it. Well, and guys, I had an awesome question, but I'm not going to ask it because I'm looking at my clock and I know we have to go to commercial break. So thank you guys so much for your insights on that topic. I love hearing it from, especially, we've got some real estate here, but we've got different age groups represented. We've got different industries represented. So I love hearing different perspectives from those different sides. So thank you for your insights. What we're going to do right now is take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to dive deeper into Delana, and we're going to dive deeper into Shaun. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible. At Fireboss Realty, we believe life is about relationships, and everything else is just details. Whether you're buying or selling, Scott and Amy Johnson are here to understand your family's unique needs and deliver expert guidance on the North Texas real estate market. With a reputation for integrity and personalized service, Fireboss Realty makes your home journey stress-free and successful. Ready to make your move? Visit firebossrealty.com and let's ignite your real estate dreams.
Everyone deserves access to affordable health insurance, but with traditional insurance, costs can be high and getting coverage can be complicated. JP Direct Health is a simpler, more affordable way to get the health coverage you need. With plans for individuals, families, and small businesses, you can save money on monthly premiums without the need for physicals. At jpdirecthealth.com, we specialize in customizing coverage to fit almost every budget with affordable PPO plans and many other benefits. With over 100 5-star Google reviews, JP Direct Health is a trusted resource making health insurance affordable and accessible for everyone year-round. Affordable health insurance solutions are a proactive protection, not a reactive solution. Visit jpdirecthealth.com today and see how much you can save.
I'm always here to help. Thank you.
Are you or someone you know pregnant or planning to conceive? Caitlin Smith is both a certified childbirth doula and instructor offering childbirth classes to couples wanting an unmedicated, physiological birth outside of the hospital setting. Caitlin has served the local community since 2021 and specializes in working closely with midwives, all while best supporting a mother's physical body, her partner, and the birth environment. You can contact Caitlin through Instagram at thismamadoula or email her at caitlinsmithdoula@gmail.com to learn more about childbirth classes or her doula services.
Are you looking to buy a home? The process can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. With the help of a qualified loan officer like Paul Fisher, you can get the financing you need and get into your dream home. Paul Fisher, a direct local lender with Certainty Home Lending, has many years of experience helping people buy homes. He's knowledgeable, experienced, and he'll work with you to find the best loan for your needs. Contact Paul Fisher today to get started on your home buying journey. He'll help you every step of the way, so you can relax and focus on finding your dream home. Visit www.loansbyfisher.com or call 817-308-7361 to schedule a consultation with Paul. MLS number 2018111.
Now back to the show.
All right, welcome back. As I mentioned before the commercial break, this is kind of my favorite part of the show because I get to learn on a weekly basis. I get to learn more about our guests and meet new folks through doing the community difference. So with that being said, I'm going to go to you first, Delana. Ladies first, as we typically do on the show. Tell us what inspired you to, get involved in so many different things that you're involved in now. Tell us your why. Tell us a little bit more about Delana. And you're on mute, by the way. You're on mute, by the way. Still there. Oh, and if you haven't noticed, yes, you're still on mute. If you haven't seen our show before, you know that we are a live show. So what you see is what you get when it comes to technology.
My dogs were scratching on the door. I apologize.
No, you're good. You are definitely not the first one to have done that throughout the broadcast career of the Community Difference.
Oh, definitely. I'm sure I'm quite surprised my dogs have been so quiet, Delana. I'm right there with you.
Well, and I'm guilty of it myself. So hopefully you heard the question, but now I'll let you answer. Go for it.
Absolutely. So my why is because I had mentors in my life. I had some major hangups that I had to go through in my own life. And as a believer that really lives out 2 Corinthians 1, 5, and 6, which talks about how I receive comfort from the Lord and that my calling is to go and provide the comfort to others that are going through very similar hangups or challenges. So that's where my passion started, was just the many, many years of Celebrate Recovery, AA, and many other really 12-step based recovery small groups, and the dynamic, because I did have a lot of counseling in my recovery and my healing, but I also had a lot of small group connection and community, which I found that in the small group community, I learned so much more, because instead of just meeting with one person I was paying, at least $150 to $175 an hour. When I go into a small group community that's even free or $30 instead of $175, I just grew, because I'm sitting there with about 10 people that actually I'm getting over $6,000 to $10,000 worth of advice, and not even advice, but their experience and their actual processing. So that's what I became really passionate about. I was serving successfully in the corporate world through as a life insurance agent. And then I just because I negotiated before I started with that, to be able to serve, and it's really basically the 12th step of recovery. And that particular 12th step is that we go out and we show others and we give them the same respect, honor, and ability to grow like I have and invest in them. So I got involved with a group that does mentorship, which is Alive at Last. And their mission is to help women who've been rescued from the streets, from either human trafficking, labor trafficking, or domestic violence, and mentoring women and just walking and showing them if they need to just meet and have coffee and just have a friend. And through that, I grew, and I decided that I would get certified in some of the fields that I was really was very, very passionate about. Ended up getting into the mental health side, and I have a couple of certifications there, still working, will always be certified. So the demographics that I currently serve and that I'm passionate about are helping women and men who have hurts, habits, or hangups, and just help them with some recovery coaching. Along with, I have a new demographic I just certified in, and that is the crisis response team as a chaplain. So I'm actually working with the first responders and some of the mental hangups that they have after they've gone through a lot of trauma just from the disasters that they've worked with. So that's something new that I am beginning to work on with that demographic.
Wow, that's awesome. Coming from a place of service is obviously it's incredible, and then given where the avenues that you've taken, that is phenomenal. So thank you for sharing that. That's phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's shift gears and let's go over to Shaun. I want to make sure we get equal time for you guys. We've got about 6 minutes with you, Shaun. Tell us your why. What makes you passionate about Chicago title, and then sports and Frisco as well?
Well, as a career path, I've always been obsessed with real estate, like for as long as I can remember. And I was like the one really annoying kid that every time my parents were like looking to buy a house, I wanted to go with them and give my opinion, like I was the one paying for it. And so much so that my parents' realtor, who they had almost my entire life, gave me a bunch of real estate books for my gift when I graduated high school. So I went off to college, and I actually took all the real estate classes and did not get my license because I got into lending. I was a mortgage broker for my first few years out of college. Then my why happened, and it was my baby girl about 11 years ago. And I really, really, really enjoyed being a dad, and I really, really liked the real estate industry. But that was in 2012, 2013, and things were not, they were kind of drying up a little bit on the real estate side as far as lending goes. And I knew I wanted to stay in the business, and I just happened to run into somebody that was in title sales. And she's like, man, I really like you. And I said, I really like you too. She's like, you want to be my partner? You want to come work with me? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And it just kind of, we jumped into this thing that neither one of us knew what we were doing at all. I knew that I was a really good connector. I knew that I was, public speaking was my favorite class in college. It's the class I got the highest grade in with 400 students in there. So I knew I could take that passion that I have, embody it in my own little package, and go out there and sell whatever it is and be successful with it. And then I meet people like Bethany, who I was maybe a week on the job, and she was about maybe a week on the job. And we looked at each other and we're like, again, you look fun. Yeah, I'm fun. You're fun. Yeah, let's try and see if we can partner up and make things happen. And we have ever since. And
I think my question to you was, what is title?
Yeah, exactly. And I said, you know what? I don't know. We're going to figure it out together.
So that's a perfect example of what we call meshing. That's making exceptional shit happen for 10 years straight.
I don't sell title insurance. That's not what I do. I work for a company that does, but that's not what I do. What I do is I connect. I connect with people on a real level so that we build loyalty together. And I can do that through lending. I can do that through title. I can do that through whatever means I need to. I like the real estate side because I love the coaching aspect that I try and bring to it. So I love to learn about all the tools and different things that I can present to a realtor so that their world gets to be easier, better, more fun, that they can go out and do more deals and more transactions. So I want to be the go-to person. It's like, Shaun, I need help with this. Do you know of a good CRM I could use? Or I need help connecting with my sphere of influence. What should I use for that? That's my job. So it really has very little to do with actually the title side. I connect them with really good escrow officers that I, trust and know very, very well. And I know that Bethany will be taken care of in the most important part so that she can be paid. But at the end of the day, Bethany, I've been at 3 different title companies, and Bethany has followed me to every single one of them because of the relationship that we have established on day one. And
Exactly.
that's really immeasurable at the end of the day. And that's how I want my business. I don't want to work with 2,000 people. I don't have the bandwidth to it. I want to work with a select few that know my value and I know their value so that we can go and do really good business together and have a lot of fun doing it and actually enjoy waking up every day and going out into the world.
Yeah.
Isn't that the perfect example of our business topic? Behavioral branding.
Yeah.
Right. It's a perfect example. And your story isn't unique in that, a lot of title folks don't stick with one title company throughout their career, but the ones that are good are followed. You guys, your relationships follow you wherever you go. And that's a perfect example.
It goes back to that core value of like, I didn't know what I was doing. He didn't know what he was really doing, but I saw that genuineness in him, where I knew he was going to help me no matter what. And I could then provide something back to him as well, on both sides. And so that is why we have stuck together for such a long time.
Love it. Well, I do have to ask you, Shaun, how does it feel right now to be a Cowboy fan?
Says the bear.
Well, what's so funny about that is I'm born and bred here. All right. So Cowboys, I knew what the Cowboys were before I knew my name. Right. So like, that's what it was. However, I'm a college football guy. I love college football. And on that fact,
Go Hogs.
I'm a Red Raider.
I
So
am too.
Me too. Me
Another
that's
great way
another
to
way we
Tons of-
connected really well.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, and I can, I think a lot of what we talked about when we had our sports dedicated show, we talked a lot about local high school football, which was awesome. And we had some really high profile local high school and national high school coaches on the program. But we had a segment that was dedicated almost entirely to college football as well. We rarely talked NFL, which was interesting. Home of the Cowboys, America's team, all that. And we rarely talked about the Cowboys. One, because they weren't exactly relevant in the standings anyway. But two, because, we shared a passion, on the show with college football. So we can commiserate, Ethan and I as Bears fans, we can commiserate in the standings anyway. The future's to be determined, but it feels like two franchises may be going in two different directions. We'll see. Time will tell. But anyway, well, thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that, Shaun. And again, I love this segment because we get to go deep with our guests and get to learn more about you guys as people, and more importantly, our audience gets to know you, right? Because whether it's a nonprofit or whether it's title, right? Title is certainly a very common offering in the area, but it's the opportunity for you guys to share who you are with our audience. So I thank you both for going a little bit deeper in who you guys are. What we're going to do right now is take our last commercial break, and we'll get into our final segment, which is called What's the Difference? We instituted it about a month and a half, 2 months ago. So we have fun with a question, which I've picked. These guys don't know the question that I'm going to ask them, so it's a little fun to hear your guys' answer with me knowing the question. So with that, Lennon, take us to commercial break, and we'll do What's the Difference.
At the Community Difference Business Development Alliance, powered by the Difference Media LLC, our mission is to empower small business owners by transcending acceptable behaviors and outcomes into exceptional realms. We foster a culture of self-awareness, accountability, and proactive engagement, guiding individuals to recognize and overcome indifference towards transformative actions, habits, behaviors, and processes driving meaningful change. Through strategic networking, impactful content creation, and innovative top-of-mind strategies, we cultivate brand relevance and differentiation, enabling our partners and the Difference community to stand out in crowded markets. With a focus on building authentic connections, amplifying brand presence, and driving sustainable growth, we equip entrepreneurs with the tools and mindset to navigate the complexities of entrepreneurship with confidence, innovation, and resilience. Together, we aim to be the catalyst for difference makers, propelling them towards their highest potential and leaving a lasting impact on their businesses and communities. That's where our community podcasts come in. These podcasts lie directly at the intersection of innovative business development and community involvement, helping to bridge the gap between small business obscurity often seen in our communities. The community-based podcasts called the Community Difference Series are an integral part of integrating all facets of modern business development into a package of great content, positive impact branding, and top-of-mind presence, thus fulfilling the greater mission we set forth. When we set out to be difference makers, we can learn to make a difference and find the success and impact innately desired by all business owners and entrepreneurs. We are difference makers.
And now it's time for What's the Difference?
All right, welcome back. Love that commercial break because it talks about difference makers, right? That's what we have every week on the show. Get to meet new difference makers in the community. We are launching new communities here in Little Elm coming up by the end of the year or by the start of next year. So looking forward to that. We are looking to grow this concept throughout multiple different communities here in the area. So stay tuned for that. But like the little sounder mentioned, this is what's the difference, and what I kind of hinted at. I'm going to ask the group a question, and I'm going to go around the horn and get your guys' answers on that question. There is no right or wrong answer, but I figured the question I picked here, with our business topic being behavioral branding, right? The theme I heard throughout from everybody really is relationship development, and how key that is in behavioral branding, and foundational, I guess, in that regard. So the question is, what's the difference between relationship management and relationship building? Okay. Difference between relationship management and relationship building. And Shaun, let's start with you on this one.
Well, it's funny because this is what I do every day. And I very much segment my my people, I guess, for lack of a better term, into these two separate groups. I have people that I have relationships with that I've had for a very long time that don't require as much input from me. They trust me to do a good job. I trust them to let me know when they need something. And that's more on a relationship management side. I would think Bethany fits into that quite often because she knows at this point she can text me at any time, like, Shaun, I need this. We're good to go. Or this morning, I got my closing. I need a bottle of wine there. We good? I said, you're good. We got you taken care of. See you there. And then there are those that need to trust. And I think that's the word, the T word, trust. It's the level of trust somebody has for you as you're building that relationship and you're cultivating that relationship. The trust has to be there. So at some point, they just have to know and trust you're going to be there. When you say you're there, you've done it for years, you're going to be that person. But it does take time to build that. And I think that's the biggest factor, is the level of trust that somebody has with you while you're either building or maintaining that relationship.
That's awesome. Great answer. Love it. Love every aspect of it. All right, Delana, same question to you.
Okay. Can you repeat it one more time, please?
Absolutely. What is the difference between relationship management and relationship building?
Yes. So for me, relationship management is more the concept that I already have many relationships that are successful, and so I am just maintaining. Where actually relationship building is where I'm always, finding ways to make sure that I'm building like that, and that I have that value of trustability, which is, part of the responsibility of having a time management program and consistent, being able to really not miss really vital important appointments and showing up on time and that kind of thing. So that's the easiest way for me to build trust with my customers, is that I'm always consistent in being there early to a meeting, and also being able to respond almost spontaneously, so that there's not a big lag. So in my business, I am really have to focus very strongly on being a role model of doing exactly what I'm teaching others to do. So,
yeah, I like that. You have to be the example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Love it. Good answers. Love it. All right, Bethany, what do you got for this one?
All right, I gotcha. So in my world, kind of relationship management would be basically what my client is hiring me to do and what they expect me to do. They expect me to have a sign in the yard. They expect me to return their calls. They expect me to market their home to get it sold. Whereas the relationship building side of it is the things that they don't expect from me. That might look like proactive problem solving, like anticipating a problem before it actually happens and giving them the answers that they need to help subside their anxiety and their frustration and going through the process. Also, again, trying to alleviate the stress that goes with selling a home, because it is a big, stressful stressful deal. Even a very smooth transaction can be stressful for people because they just don't do it very often. So that might look like, a transaction is usually 4 weeks long, sending them dinner one night during the course of us moving to sell their home, because you don't even have pots and pans out because they're all getting packed up. You go to closing and you have an envelope that's a prepaid envelope to leave at your home that you're leaving, so that any of the mail that's there can be sent to you in your new address as just a value add to them, because it's not something that they're thinking about. And so that's where, to me, that relationship builds, so that they, again, see two different aspects of me, and then want to refer me to other people that they know.
Love it. No, that's good perspective. I like that a lot. Awesome. Ethan, take us home on your answer.
So to me, relationship management's more of just like managing what's already done, or not what's already done, but more as what's already expected of you. Kind of what Bethany said. It's already established, and so you're more on like a conservative, like just get what you need to get done. Whereas relationship building, you're proactive, nonstop. And an example of that for me was every Tuesday after we networked at Frisco Business Leaders, I would stop at Lord Rush Collectibles, my Pokemon client, every time. And I did that for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to continue to build a relationship because he's a big client to me, and I appreciate his service and I appreciate working with him. So I always want to get face-to-face interaction. Two, I would help out around his shop, which is totally unnecessary, but I would still do it anyways, because not only am I helping him, but I'm learning more about his business. And by doing that, I can market his business better. I know how he views those Pokemon cards. I know how he sells the Pokemon cards better. I know why Pokemon cards and each Pokemon card has its own stock, basically. So I know which one's up, which one's down, why it's up or why it's down, whether it's the set, whatever it might be. So by me going face to face, I'm even doing a better job because I'm doing my marketing research. And three, I just want to build that relationship with him. He's hands down one of my favorite clients, just because we nonstop just have a good laugh, have a good time. Whenever we record, we're always dialed, we're proactive, and it's just an overall good time. And it's the attitude, going back to our topic of the month, it's just the attitude we have for each other's businesses and how much fun we have with each other. It's just some kind of synergy that I can't really explain, but it's fun to be there and it makes me want to be there. And that's why I'm probably more proactive in relationship building with him. So that's how I would kind of define the two terms.
I love it. Okay, great example. Now we also know how you got those Pokemon cards on your wall there.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Sticky fingers over there. I see how it goes. All right. Well, great answers, guys. Love it. I'm going to read the Webster's Dictionary version of the answer to that question. And as I read this, you're going to hear a lot of the themes that you guys already echoed. So again, the question, what's the difference between relationship management and relationship building? The answer, relationship management involves maintaining and nurturing existing connections, ensuring they remain strong and productive. Relationship building is the process of establishing new connections, often focusing on creating a solid foundation for future interactions. So, I mean, you guys nailed it and gave personal examples. So you guys passed the test and get extra credit as well. All right, guys, we're going to have to wrap the show up real quick. The audience already knows who you are and how to get in touch with you, so I won't take up time on that. But what I do want is maybe a 15 or 20-second answer of one question, and we're going to start with you, Delana. What is your key takeaway from being on the show today?
I was just writing it in the notes that this has been such a meaningful and educational exercise for me, from getting introduced to what your platform's like, and then just the number of ways that I heard behavioral branding today, and how it just totally opened my mind up better around that, because I don't have time to, I don't have my own marketing department. I don't have time to study marketing. So this is really hands-on. Thank you.
That's awesome. Great. I'm glad you had a learning. We offer that as well. So come to the BDA and find out. Awesome. Yeah. Great share. Love it. What about you, Shaun? What's your key takeaway from today?
I think it's the not so general reminder of how passionate people are that love what they do. I mean, from all different aspects of life, walks of life, backgrounds, and ages. Ethan, shout out, buddy. Don't let anybody tell you're too young for anything. I've had this baby face for a long time. Believe me, it works.
It's that gray hair, though, that's getting you now.
Yeah, I know. But it's so nice to see, because in a world where we hear nothing but negativity all the time, it's so nice to hear people's passions and it being displayed outwardly. So it's been great. That's my big takeaway.
Love it. That's an awesome answer. Guys, we are at the end of our show. Like I said before we kicked off the show, an hour and 15 minutes flies by when you're having fun. So it was a pleasure being with all of you guys today. Thank you all for your insights on the business topic. We're going to have to hit it, but everybody have a fun, safe weekend, and we'll be back here next Thursday, 2:30 p.m. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching today's show.
The Community Difference Frisco is made possible by Brian Poduska with Real Property Management Focus, Paul Fisher with Certainty Home Lending, Bethany Rowan with the Rowan Realty Group, Tracy Churchman with Best Buddies, Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Mortgage, Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers, Ethan Donovan with the Donovan Creative Agency, and by Meena Singh, college counselor and prep coach. The Community Difference Frisco. Together, we can make the difference.